Camilla Richter here with Joyful Music Studio, and I'm here to talk with my piano parents about creating an environment for practice. Now, a lot of parents ask me, like, how do I help my kids practice? I don't know anything about music, I don't know anything about piano, and I'm here to tell you that the very first step is to create an environment for practice, an environment that is conducive for learning. So I am just going to run through a couple of quick steps that you can change in your household today to help facilitate learning. Number one is access to an instrument, access to a piano. So you have to own a piano and a keyboard. It's very important to be able to practice. But more than that, it has to be accessible to the student. If you are using the keyboard as kind of a side table to put your mail on, or if you have it covered, if you have a piano cover, that's not very accessible, and if the piano is not accessible, it makes it very difficult for the student to practice. Number two is a piano bench. So make sure that you have a piano bench for your child to practice on. I would recommend against a chair or an office chair, because then there is the tendency to want to sit back or slouch, and that is not very good for playing with good technique. So if you have a piano bench, if you have an adjustable one, that's awesome. If not, then just any piano bench will do. Number three, you need a music stand. So some keyboards, a lot of keyboards come with a music stand, but some don't. So make sure that there is something on the piano or on the keyboard where your child can put their books on or put their music on so we can see it, okay? Number four is a notebook, a pen, and a pencil. So this is where they would take their notebook from lessons, have it open to the page that we've been working on, and then also have a pencil, because sometimes I will ask them to circle things in their music, and they can also check off the boxes if they've practiced. So make sure that there is a dedicated pencil, a piano pencil, and their notebook is available. And along with that is just their piano books. So one thing that I say it's really helpful is if right after the piano lesson, if you take the books out of their bag and put them on the piano. So that way, every time you walk past the piano, every time you walk past the keyboard, you see the books there. And at bonus points, if the book is opened to the song that they're supposed to be practicing, something about seeing it visually and having it all set up makes it really easy to just sit down and play through it for like 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Even if they don't have a lot of time for practice that day. So number five is a metronome. So now a metronome, this can be, a lot of keyboards have it integrated into the keyboard. So if you have a user manual to your keyboard, you can look up how to use that. But also you can find pretty decent ones on Amazon that you can just buy. They're just physical metronomes. You can also download a metronome app on your phone, but I find that that can be kind of distracting for students, especially, well, if they don't have their own phone, then there's that accessibility problem. If they do have their own phone, it can be very distracting trying to sift through all of the notifications or texts or emails or whatever that they get to try to find the metronome so they can practice, right? It takes a lot of focus away. So if you can have either one in the keyboard or a physical metronome, that's awesome. Number six, good lighting. So it's really important for kids to be able to see the music that they're working on. So if you have a piano lamp that kind of sits on top of the piano, that works great. Or if you have just a lamp off to the side, that way they're not straining their eyes if they're trying to practice later in the day when it's getting kind of darker out. Number seven, comfortable temperature, whatever that means to you. It's not very fun to practice piano when it's like 53 degrees and you're shivering. But anyway, 8, cozy and inviting. So preferably the piano or keyboard is in somewhere that it's not dark and kind of shoved away down in the basement somewhere. I know kids, I had a student one time that would not practice because her keyboard was in the basement and she did not like going down into the basement. So if you have like an office or a study or in their bedroom, somewhere where it's kind of cozy and light and inviting, and not kind of scary or creepy. That is very helpful. And also with that, I would just say, try not to have the keyboard or piano. I know it's not always doable depending on the layout of your house, but try not to have the keyboard or the piano in a very busy section of the house, like the kitchen when you're trying to make dinner, or in the dining room, or right next to the TV, because if there's a lot of TV going on, there's not a lot of opportunity to practice the piano. So try to have it in a quiet and inviting location. And number 9, accessibility. That also goes with having it be in a good part of the house. So just somewhere where your child will see it, and they can access it very easily without getting in the way of TV time after school. So, and then number 10 is optional, but I always think it's helpful to have a clock around, just so they can see kind of how long they've been practicing, and also so they don't get so caught up in practicing that they forget to go do other things that they're supposed to, get ready for school or whatnot. So anyway, these are just a couple of tips that you can do at home, depending on the layout of your house and the structure of your family life. One other thing is totally optional too is like having a bulletin board or a whiteboard, so they can write down maybe the day and the time of their lesson, and any special thing that they were supposed to remember that week. So anyway, this is a great first step for you to help your child be able to practice and have the accessibility to practice.